Hey everybody, welcome back to the Nidus Anarchy series. I'm your host Adam, the CIO and co-founder of Nidus. Here is Ian, the producer of the podcast, and today we're going to talk about how not to lose your job to AI. So after the video that we just published basically saying you're going to lose your job to AI, the first question that gets asked immediately is, well, how do I prevent it? What do I do so that I don't lose my job to AI? So there's really three things you can do the way that I see it. The nice way of saying it is you can either learn it, you can adopt it, or you can pivot. And really that's the old school saying of lead, follow, or get the out of the way, right? So in that you can learn it, so you can actually become an AI person, right? Start learning how to build AI models and training and doing all this fun stuff, become a data scientist and writing the programs to implement these AI systems and building the hardware and infrastructure so you can dive into the world of AI, learn it and do that. The problem is the bar for that is really high. I mean, you have to be super smart, so smart in the sense where I'm learning it now because I'm just out of morbid curiosity and it's fun, but it is so challenging. There's just so much involved, and it's that wave of new information, and it's all very complex stuff, especially lots and lots and lots of math. So it's not like super easy where it's like, oh, I'm just going to learn how to make web pages. We're not really there, right? Now maybe we will. I mean, maybe this is just the beginning and things will get easier, but for now, it's extremely complicated to get in. People that are getting laid off at the call center, I don't see them growing and building out their own custom AI models and LLMs. So the next one is to adopt it. And I think this is where this is going to be the natural flow, which is whatever your career path is right now, you should start adopting AI into your daily life of your work product immediately. Because what's happening is you're going to learn how to start doing prompt engineering, which is learning how to write the best prompts that give you the best results. You're going to learn all the different AIs that are out there. It's not just ChatGPT. There's thousands of things out there that people have made. You're going to start learning all kinds of fun things that are specific to your industry, and you will start learning the best ways to utilize AI to make your job better, make you more efficient at your job. Now, what this is going to do is say, hey, look, let's say you're a CPA, right? This is the one I like to use as an example because as a CPA, it's really the tax code, federal, state, whatever, and there's really not much wiggle room there. There's some gray areas that your accountants may play in, but if you feed all that into an AI model and it learns it all, and it has thousands of tax records to go off of, to learn off of things and audit reports and all this other fun stuff, having an AI model that can do your taxes seems a very easy, not want to say easy, but a very, very, I think everyone can understand that that is a natural progression of how AI could replace a job, is replacing CPAs. So if you were a CPA, I would recommend you start learning AI now and then figure out how you can introduce AI into creating a better work product for your customers. Because eventually what's going to happen is, oh man, I got this guy, but this dude, like he's phenomenal. He gets so much more done stuff faster. It's way more accurate, does all these other fun things that helps me out. He's like a magician when it comes to my taxes. You're going to start getting more clients, which means other people are going to lose clients. And unfortunately, they will go out of business because they did not adopt AI into their world. It's kind of like using a computer. Those that decided I don't want to use computers and I'm not going to learn it, they're going to disappear. AI adoption is going to be the same way. Now, to Ian's point, which he mentioned right before we started, is, well, aren't you going to basically be weeding yourself out, and it's going to get to a point to where you no longer have a job? And the answer is pretty much. And the thing is, it's one thing I want to make clear though, is we're not going to be getting rid of all jobs, right? It's not like every single CPA is gone. It's no longer a job skill. It's that if we have 100,000 CPAs in this country, in the end, we're probably only going to have like 20,000 or 50,000 or something. So because one of them can do the job of a ton of others, and only the ones that have learned AI and they know how to use it to their advantage are going to get the business, right? And there's going to be services like, what's the tax people, the H&R Block and all that kind of crap, right? Like, those guys will have an online TurboTax AI model pushing the things, and they're just going to steal a ton of business from these smaller CPAs, which are going to put them out. So yes, it's eventually probably going to make you the weak link, but if you're ahead of the curve and if you keep it in your wheelhouse where you can, then hopefully adopting will help keep your job around longer and make you a more expert in the space with AI, which in the end wins for you. But you need to adopt it. The last thing is to pivot. If you're in a position or you're in a role to where there's no way to keep your job with AI, then you need to come to that realization sooner than later and start learning a new trade or a new skill and pivot into a completely different job. It could be, like let's say, like I want to talk with you about like voice acting, voiceover work. Like it may be something in audio where it's like, okay, well now you're doing production of the AI models or something. Like maybe you're working with, people to pick the right ones or something. I'm not really sure, but
No, but that makes sense.
you'll have to find something that's in parallel with your business, or just something completely new. Get into woodworking. AI is not going to take over woodworkers anytime soon. You know what I mean? If that's your passion, you love it. Hey, maybe now is that sign to pick up photography. Who knows what it is, or early retirement. Go for it. But so one thing, like you started asking a bunch of good questions. I was like, wait, hold on.
Yeah, that's why you brought me
Let's
in.
bring this here because you're going to ask all the questions I was asking. And the thing was, which I'll let you start out with, is so like a voice actor, right? So
Yeah, because I was saying, my career, it's always been kind of a few different things that I've done. So radio production, but voiceover work has always been a part of that. And I was like, I could see AI completely replacing us in terms of that. And then you were, we can get into it, and you were saying that you could kind of like franchise your voice out to other people.
Yep.
But every now and again, as a voice actor, you do get a very high paying gig for like a big customer. A great example actually would be my friend Adam Hamway, who Harold probably put up here. He is now he's the announcer for the New Jersey Devils. If you go to Devils
wow.
games,
That's awesome.
But he was also the voice of Wendy's for 1 year. Any Wendy's commercial you saw,
Wow.
you saw his face on, and I believe Adam bought a house from that money. Like
That's
there's some very high paying gigs to just say the new Big Bacon Classic from Wendy's. They're just like, we like this guy's voice. And I wonder, is that gone? We can just make that guy through AI.
Yeah, he's gone. That's the golden years of it, and those are coming to a very swift end. So, for voice actors, I would say for that position, so either adopt, so either say, you know what, out of the field, get into AI and start saying, you know what, I need to start building AI models. I don't see that happening. I don't see like the voice actors being like, oh man, this is the next progression for me is I'm going to become a data scientist. So then I think it's going to have to be the adopt. So it's like, yes, the second companies figure out they can just have an AI model do it all for them and they can just pay $100, like why would they pay someone hundreds or thousands of dollars to do voiceover acting? Because they can have a thing that they don't have to pay royalties to, they don't have to do whatever they can just do whatever.
Yeah, I still think there's going to be people though, maybe, who want to know this is a genuine person who sat in a studio and recorded this possibly. And I know we said we're not going to get way off topic on things, but the only example I can think of in my head is there's more and more technology being used for live concerts. Mm-hmm. So you and I were even having this conversation that sometimes you see a show actually in the metal world where there is programming being used and there's not a bassist on stage.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who feel, and you can sense this, Harold, this is bullshit. I paid to see like a live band on stage. I don't want all this. And just the same way people may want to hear an audiobook and they may be like, even if it sounds exactly the same, I want to know that that guy recorded this and that he used the inflection, for these chapters and so on and so forth.
It will exist, but it's going to exist as a luxury.
Yeah.
As a luxury good. So it'll be specific people like, hey, I want, Brad Pitt's voice over top of something or Arnold Schwarzenegger's voice over top of something. Like people will pay a premium for something like that. Now, are just some random voice actor, are they going to pay a premium just because they're human? Well, I think it's going to depend on, like maybe like as an announcer for like hockey games or something.
As I mentioned,
like, as of right now, for something live, yes, because the compute power doesn't really exist right now for like live, immediate AI modeling of the voice.
That'd be very easy to do, even I know.
Coming.
Because
it's 100% coming.
What my friend Adam, for example, what does he do? He just needs to know the players' names, who scores a goal, what number. You could easily program all
you were
that.
talking about a soundboard. We were doing this.
Man, I just think of what a gray, lifeless world to go to a hockey game and it's not a guy in the booth announcing who scored the goal and it's a machine. And I don't like. I hate the idea. I'll be the first to say.
The thing is, it will be the point you won't notice the difference.
Yeah,
you really won't.
It's very sad. Very sad. I don't like it.
It is, but at the same time, it's all it's commercialized, right? So it's like, okay. The company is going to it's very simple. They're just going to make a very simple decision. Okay, we can pay this guy $10,000 to come in and be our announcer for the season, or we can use this thing that we paid $100 for, and it does everything that we want it to do. It says exactly what we want it to say. It will never slip up and swear on while being hot mic'd. It will never get ousted as in like some TMZ video doing something highly illegal that just puts the entire organization at risk. So when you think of it from a corporate standpoint, there's nothing but an upside. Will people be bummed when they find out it's not a person? It's going to be twofold. Yes, some people are going to be like, this isn't right. That's why I like records. Like digital music, it's just not the same as analog. Like, and seeing the band is nothing like listening to it live or listening to it like on your headphones and stuff either. But at the same time, which is selling more, records or Spotify streaming music? Which is playing more
Yeah,
music?
we know the answer.
So that's how you know where it's going. Like people do care. They
But there
don't
are,
care
as
that
you said, there
much.
still are people buying records, so there still will be that small.
Yeah, of course. That's what I'm
Luxury,
saying.
as
It's
you
a
said,
luxury.
yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm paying $40 for a record versus it's free to stream it on Spotify, and the nuanced difference is so minute. But it's important enough to me to spend the money for all this stuff.
Yeah.
But that is a small group of people, and it's people that can have that money to do so.
So the other thing that you said is you were saying you adapt to this by basically franchising your voice out to companies so that you recorded so much that they could use it. And then when we were thinking of how much would you charge a company for that, my issue that I said is like, man, with how much people would probably pay for that, it wouldn't be the same as someone who gets that really awesome $10,000 voice
you're not
actor
gonna get
gig.
those. Well, it could be because it'll be. So think of it this way.
Yeah, I guess
you're-
if it's a big company, if Toyota wants to use,
Exactly. So if you're a voiceover actor, it's like, okay, cool. So instead of being like, oh man, I'm screwed and be like, I'm out, what are you going to do? You're going to learn how to train your own models. Now, like we were saying earlier, like I have no idea how to train a model in my voice. Well, in the early 2000s, everyone wanted a website. No one knew how to make a web page. What do? You go on to Fiverr and Upwork and
knew
you
you were
find
gonna
someone to
mention
make
that,
it for you. And you say, hey, look, and what are they going to do? Well, hey, I need you to read, these 3,000 hours of words.
Jeez,
And
not doing it.
then you put it in, and then I'll make the model and train it, and that's going to cost you $1,000.
Yeah.
And then you're going to like, okay, so you do all this reading, you make all the audio files, send it to them, they train it up for you, and they deliver you this model. So now you say, hey, voiceover world, you can you pay thousands of dollars for all these other people, or I'll let you, for $100 a year, you can license my pre-trained voice. Here's the model, I already got it done. You can use this, and it's for $100 a year, go for it. All of a sudden they're like, whoa. And now you're selling your voice into thousands of places when everyone else can only sell them one at a time.
It is the future, but I also kind of hate it. That's my comment.
Yeah. Well, that's going to be the balance is how do we keep humanity around while we completely replace humanity? And I guess I really think it's just going to be a luxury item. I think it's going to be a luxury item to talk and interact with a real human being. It's just like if you go to McDonald's, everyone's being replaced with kiosks, right? Like I don't even think you order food in person anymore. Everything is a kiosk, especially after COVID. It's scan the QR code, place to order, pick it up, right? You don't even talk to people anymore half the time when it's like when you go like fast food. And in the beginning, everyone's like, sweet, I don't want to talk to these people. Like, I just want to get in, get my food, and get out. So from a customer standpoint, you're like, this is great. It makes my life a lot easier. So, but at the same time, there's times when you want to be catered to and pampered to. So then you're going to go to like a fine dining establishment, right? And there's some places where you go and you have like the waiter, you have your own like another sub waiter person, and then another person is like the bartender or person, and the manager comes by and says hi. You have that huge personal interaction, and the chef might come out and say, hey, what do you think about the food? You're like, oh, it's amazing. But you're going to have a $300 check when you leave there versus a $30 check when you leave McDonald's.
Which even that is insane, right? For people watching.
Yeah.
Man, $30 for McDonald's.
It's only going to go up.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so that's where I see it's going to go. Is people will definitely want to pay for the real experience, but it's going to become a premium.
Yeah.
So you can either lead, get into AI, follow, adopt it, and be the first one out there to license it to as many people as possible, or get out of the way. Don't become a voice actor anymore. Figure out a new job because those are your options.
Yeah, well, that's also why I do several different things. But
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I think one of the first things I ever learned as a kid was diversify. Diversify your investments, diversify your portfolio, diversify your sources of income. Because this way, if one dies, you still have these other sources that are providing you income. So that's economic smartness 101 is have multiple sources of revenue.
Yeah, all
Which
the
has
actually
nothing
will
to do with
say
this conversation.
no, but it does a little bit because I think the economy in today's world has shifted to that where you should have your hand in many different things
Yes.
because of where technology is going, as opposed to our parents' generation,
Well-
which the model was work for a company for like 40
a
hours until the day you
retire.
die. Yeah.
Right, yeah. Well,
Which I don't think that's
in Detroit for
feasible these
automotive
days.
plants.
Yeah.
That's what it was. It was you learned a job to get into one of the big four so that you could retire from there with a pension. That was like,
Yes.
you're groomed as a child, that's your path in life.
And that has changed because of technology.
Right.
And that's how we tie it all together.
Yes. So it's not all doom and gloom, but you're going to have to start to learning to accept change, and you need to be on the forefront of it if you want to keep your job. I think that's just it, unfortunately. I mean, it sounds brutal, but sometimes you just need to be told the brutal thing so that you can be prepared. And that's, for me, what it is. Like when I talk to a lot of my friends, it's like from the computer people, and we were talking about, what are we going to do? Everyone's like, oh, well, let's just start learning AI. Let's just start figure out how we build our own models. How do we do this? Let's figure out. It's like, yes, we can do that, right? Like, I'm actively learning and throwing myself into the AI world and how we can attach this into identity access management and have real AI stuff going on. But not everyone can do that. Like your call center people can't do it. Your CPA people can't do it. Your voiceover actor people can't do that, right? So like, what about all these other people? Those are the people I care about. And that's why it's like, I want to get this information out there because it's not, I just don't want to sensationalize like, the world's on fire, we're all going to die. It's like, there's a path, but you have to be willing to start making that change now. So get yourself an account on ChatGPT 4. 3.5 is the free one. It's fun, but it is not the life-changing AI that we're talking about. That's version 4, which is what you need to be paying for. Check out Midjourney, check out DALL-E for image generation. Just start playing with it. And then start finding like, hey, how can I incorporate this into my company? How can I incorporate this into what I do for a living? And if you can find one thing, start building on that. Find a second thing, because then eventually you will have that AI knowledge of how it best fits with your niche of work that you do, versus everyone else that's just going to protest it and they're going to be left in the dust. Protesting is going to get you nothing. AI is not stopping.
Yeah.
Cool. That's it. Hope you guys can learn how to adjust and bring AI into your model of works. I think that's going to be the most beneficial for everybody. And if not, I hope you can find a really cool job that is not what you're currently doing.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, that's it. See you guys around. Later.